Okay, up next, Matt Kenseth. He drives the number 20 Dollar General Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing. And Matt, certainly you've shown of late your prowess at restrictor plate tracks. Won 3 times, I believe, twice at Daytona and then once here a couple years ago at Talladega. Just talk about now coming to Talladega, looking for that first win of the year to solidify that spot in the chase, and just your outlook for this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Talladega is always unpredictable. We've ran really well here last couple of years. Last spring we led a bunch of laps, and I think it's the thing that ended kind of at night and had a green white checker at the end and got beat. So that was disappointing. And then last fall was kind of a strange ending and just couldn't really make anything happen. So you just never know what's going to happen here. It's an exciting race to watch. It's an exciting race to be a part of. But like I say, it's unpredictable. You always kind of need help or need to be in the right spot or need extra cars to be able to make moves and make passes. So you spend more time thinking about moves than typically you do, just making them or going trying to pass somebody like you would at a normal track.
Questions for Matt. We'll start with Ed and then go over to Tom. Go ahead, Ed.
Ed Hinton, ESPN.com. Over to you, Joey Logano was just in here saying that he thinks there may be a wreck in tomorrow's qualifying. He says he thinks there's going to be times that there's a lot of cars on the track. You're going to have to get your quick lap in pretty quickly. Can you kind of go over what your view of that is and how hairy it might get?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the truth is none of us really know. I mean, obviously the bigger the group is and the farther you are back from it to a certain point, the bigger run you're going to go and the faster lap time you're going to get, and that's not a secret, and everybody knows that. So, everybody's waiting for that group. There's never going to be a group, so I think it's going to be kind of funny to watch. I don't know how it's going to work. We did the first round at Daytona, in Nationwide, and it was a little crazy, but there's, the field's obviously better, in Cup. So I don't know what's going to happen. It should be interesting, especially having 3 rounds. I think obviously the first round is where you're going to have your fast lap times, and that one you're going to have to, probably make more, calculations or more aggressive moves or however you want to put it to get that lap. Once they start thinning this field out and you get down to 12 or even to 25 or 24 or whatever, it's going to change a little bit. But, yeah, there's always a potential for a wreck when you put 43 cars out there.
Everybody always talks about the big one going into the race itself. Potential for a wreck, yes, but do you also think that there's a possibility there and a potential for a big one during qualifying?
Yeah, the potential's there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to go yet. I don't know if, a lot of guys will just go get a lap, and even if they just barely miss the round, they're okay with that, or not. And even if they're not, once the pack is gone, you're not going to run a fast lap anyway. So I'm not sure how it's all going to go down. It should be really interesting to watch.
Let's go to Tom and then to Alan. Go ahead, Tom, and then Alan.
Hi, Matt. Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. Just to follow up on that. Do you think that during qualifying there will likely be a huge pack for more speed or smaller groups to avoid a wreck?
Well, I think everybody's going to try to do a strategy to get the fastest lap they can and start as far as they can toward the front. What that's going to look like, I honestly just don't really know. It depends what everybody does, and there's no way to predict what everybody's going to do. So the people in the big pack aren't going to be the ones running a fast lap. It's going to be the people behind the big pack. So everybody knows that, so there might not be a big pack. I'm not really sure exactly how it's going to go down.
Let's go to Alan and then to my man right here next to Holly. Your name escapes me, but I'm sorry, I should know you, but you're up next. Go ahead.
Alan Cavana, NASCAR.com. I was talking with Joey before in here about now that both Penske cars have wins, they can start planning for the chase and all their testing and plan for that. Are you looking forward to those benefits? Is that something you're thinking about in getting the win this year?
No, I haven't really thought about that yet. I think no matter what, whether we, obviously we don't have a win yet, I'm kind of more of a 1 week at a time guy. I mean, you're always looking forward, obviously, and trying to get your stuff better and plan for things. But man, it's May 1st. We got another 4.5 months racing to do before we get to the chase. So it still seems a little early to be thinking about it too much. a lot can change in 4 months.
Go ahead.
Jordan Bianchi, SBNation.com. Matt, Talladega probably has more zany and crazy, unpredictable moments than any other track. Is there one or a couple that jump out to you?
Tracks or people?
Well, both, but particularly particularly the things that happen on the track here.
Well, I mean, restrictor plate racing is obviously unique. You know, we only have 4 of those races a year. Talladega is slightly different than Daytona, even though since they paved Daytona, they've become much more similar. But basically, you just don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, you can't really get away from anybody with restrictor plates. You can't really make a lot of moves by yourself. You know, a lot of it is so dependent on what everybody else does. You know, so it's just a totally different, you know, mindset. I think when you come to these races, totally different, you know, driving style, strategy, you know, the way you go about things. So it's just different.
Go in the back. Matt, you had a question? Well, Matt, we got a couple of Jeffs have a question. Go ahead.
Matt Weaver, Popular Speed here in the back center. When you first started coming here to Talladega and you saw the big one and you got a chance to maybe even experience a big one, how intimidating was the racing here, even, you know, compared to a place like Daytona and the rest of the schedule, just because of the capacity for the big crash?
Yeah, I mean, it always changes a little bit through the years. I mean, certainly whenever you come to a plate race or even think of the word Talladega, everybody thinks of the big one. I mean, I think drivers, fans, media members, everybody thinks of that. That's always what everybody's thinking about and talking about. But certainly it's changed over the years. Certainly there was some years where cars were flying through the air and all kinds of crazy stuff was happening. You know, then you have other years that are maybe a little bit more tame. So you just, you know, again, it's unpredictable. You just don't know what's going to happen. Obviously, you know, that's part of racing here, and it can happen at any time. And it's always something that people are thinking about. That's why you see different strategies of people in the back or, you know, what have you. So it's certainly something you always think about to a certain extent.
All right, let's go to Jeff Gluck and then Jeff Hood, and we'll end back in the corner there.
Jeff Gluck from USA Today. I'm behind the cameras. David Reagan was in here before you, and he was saying that, you know, even if they make the chase, they'd obviously be a real long shot for the championship. How far do you think a team that's kind of one of the underdog teams could go in the chase? I mean, could you see them advancing a couple rounds? How would that work?
Well, I mean, I think it depends, you know, what happens to all the rest of the cars. I mean, to advance around, you could have, you know, a lot of the real good cars, a lot of the favorites, you know, have a DNF and have an off day or something like that and be out and finish ahead of them. But, I mean, I think certainly on average the point standings, you know, throughout the year, or if you take, you know, snapshots of different parts of the year or whatever, kind of usually gives you a good idea who's probably going to have a shot and who's not.
Jeff Hood.
Yeah, I'm also behind the cameras, Matt. Jeff Hood from RacingToday.com. In regards to qualifying tomorrow and the threat of maybe losing your primary car, do you think there's any drivers that have the mindset of let's just kind of start toward the rear of the field? I mean, I know that kind of goes against why you're here, but, you know, thinking of how 500-mile races play out here, it's so topsy-turvy anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's more going to be a team decision more so than a driver decision necessarily. And then there's also a lot of things that are out of your control. I mean, you might want to be on the pole, but you know, something happens, you get mixed up, don't get a lap, caution comes out, something like that in the first run when all the cars are out there, and then only 12 cars go back out the next time because everybody's happy with their times. You're not going to run a faster lap. So I mean, obviously, you need all the cars, or a lot of cars in a good draft to pull up and get that lap. So, I mean, I think you're going to try to get the best lap you can without putting yourself in jeopardy to get your primary car tore up. So this is one of those races where you can go to the front to the back, another way around, you know, more easily than other tracks.
Final question, back in the back, Jake.
Jay Pennell with Fox Sports in the back. You talk about how important it is to work with other cars in the draft here. Given the importance of a win in the chase and almost guaranteeing you a spot in the chase, do you think that's going to affect how guys race towards the end of the race with other drivers? You know, we've seen guys throw blocks here in the past. We've seen guys work together. Just how do you think that dynamic of the race is going to change when it comes down to, you know, 10 laps to go?
I mean, I know it's not always the popular answer, but I mean, I still stand by. I just don't think it changes the racing. I don't think it changes the winners. I just think it changes the reward you get for winning. You know, all these races are really big races. Everybody wants to win them. I don't see anybody showing up in May and being like, man, I hope I run 10th today. I mean, everybody goes out and does everything they can to win these races each and every week, no matter what the reward is, no matter what it pays, points, any of that stuff. You know, they're all big races, and everybody shows up every week to try to win.